Hello everybody, it's Mary at Yard Art or Us. How are y'all? It is Sunday and this is kind of an impromptu video. I thought I would get on here and show you how to paint a poinsettia. This is actually August 1st. I was technically supposed to do this back in July, which was yesterday. It ended yesterday, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to paint the poinsettia, and it's been sitting around in my art room, so it's a little bit dusty, and I'm going to clean it first. Then I'm going to show you what to do. Is that Geniceta? That's a beautiful name. Hey Debbie, how are you? So glad y'all could join me. Hey Ava, I'm going to get on here. You're not going to believe this, but today has been a really good day for me. I know that when I tell y'all why it's been good, you're going to think I'm ridiculous. Hey, I got two Debbies on here. Hey Pam, how are y'all doing? So the reason I'm coming on to do these poinsettias, okay, I'm going to show you how I kind of do them, is today was a good day for me because I got to spend the day, well, kind of by, I don't know if by myself is the right word, but I got to spend the day without the phone, just going crazy. And so I got out into my art room and I thought, you know, I'm going to get some stuff done. And so, it's just kind of like when you start cleaning your closet, you just like, oh my Lord. So I started cleaning and look what I found, y'all. I found poinsettias and I thought, I was supposed to have done this in July. Technically, I'm one day late. It's only August 1st. And we sell poinsettias every year. And we had them last year in the Painters Club, and we have them this year. We just haven't done a live on them. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to paint the poinsettia. And honestly, had I not decided to clean my art room, who knows if I'd be doing this video, but that's okay. Oh, I do too, Ava. And you just can't make enough of them. We make so many every year, and then we just don't make any more because we have to move on. So what I did with this poinsettia is I started with red. The whole enchilada, or in this case, the whole poinsettia, red. Now, it's kind of counterintuitive because you might think, well, why didn't you start with white, or don't you start with a lighter color when you prime that first coat on there? And what I know to be true is that if I'm going to try to put red on top of like a white, you're going to have a hard time. I can do it, but I've done this a long time and it takes me some patience. And so if you're just starting out painting, I would always recommend, if you got something red and white, paint the red first. Especially if you're painting on, let's see, that back is, okay, this is not painting. Especially if you're painting on something brown, that red is gonna look a lot better if you'll paint that red first, okay? So that's what I do, is I paint the red first. Once the red is dry, then I'm going to put some of the white in that middle where the seeds would be. And then once that part dries, then I'll be doing some yellow. Okay, so let me put this up here to make sure I don't, because y'all, Dawn says, this is the first time here. Well, welcome, Dawn. Hey, Brian. Hi, Beverly and Holly. I'm so glad y'all are here. I'm here tonight doing a live, and I've kind of missed y'all. Ashley has been doing lots of lives this week, so I've kind of backed off a little bit. But I'm here because I actually cleaned my art room today, and when I say I cleaned it, y'all know what I'm talking about? Like, throw everything out, start all over again, kind of clean. And so I came across these poinsettias and I was like, ooh, I guess I better do a live on them. So I'm doing a live tonight. Hi Pam and Debbie and Nance. I'm so glad y'all are here. So, you know, you kind of know, here's a clue. I got to kind of make sure I don't talk too much. I'm going to do this the right way. Here's a clue that you might be getting older, okay? When your definition, Bruce was asking me this afternoon, you know, how's your day been? Because he was out in his little shack most of the afternoon. And I said, oh, I've had a good day. And he's like, well, why? What's been good about it? I was like, well, I got to paint by myself. The phone wasn't blowing up. I mean, it rained some, but nothing too crazy. I cleaned the heck out of my art room. And he's all like, oh, so that's a good day. And I was like, well, I'm not finished. So this morning, Bruce and I went to Whataburger for breakfast, y'all. And we do that quite often because sometimes we just don't feel like cooking. We both drink a lot of unsweet iced tea. We always have, probably always will. And so I get home, and of course, I drink a lot, y'all. No, it's a good thing I'm not drinking whiskey or beer. I'd be drunk all the time. But so I go, and I'm thinking, man, I don't have any more unsweet tea. And Bruce is outside working, and I notice he's left his here for me. I'm like, score! I get his unsweet tea, and I get mine. So I was telling Bruce, I was like, I was all happy I had 2 glasses of unsweet tea, you know, when I came home, because you didn't drink yours. And he's like, you do realize you're getting old when unsweet tea makes you like have a good day. I'm like, look, I'm gonna take my good days wherever I can get them, y'all. That's what I'm gonna do. So I cleaned up my art room. I had unsweet tea, and then Bruce, I kind of was, you know, when you start the cleaning thing, you know what that means. And I had this, for those of you who can't see it behind me, I used to have a ribbon organizer behind me, and I really didn't like it because it wasn't good. So when we went out to lunch today, I said, can we stop at Home Depot and figure out a way to get a better ribbon organizer? And Bruce is really cool for a lot of reasons, but one reason is he's always up for any kind of home improvement project or anything. Let me see if I can show y'all. So this is what he made. I'm gonna show you right quick. I know this is not what we're supposed to be doing on our live, but check it out. Here's what he made me. See my ribbon organizer? So that's why I was having a good day, y'all. Let me back it up a little bit. Okay, this is a ring light, but y'all can see my ribbon right up there, right? So that's the kind of day I had. He made me a ribbon organizer, and I'm like, woohoo, woohoo. And then he also moved this. He made this for me a long time ago, but he moved it to make it to where it's better and it's more situated. So that's what I spent my day doing. Nothing like showing y'all all kinds of stuff here. So, yes, I had a good day. And I found poinsettias that I was supposed to do in July. Better late than never. Hey, Debbie, she says she's from Kentucky. Awesome. You know, I know a couple of folks up that way, and Miss Victoria, she sometimes does lives, and she's lived in Texas a long time, but she was born and raised in Kentucky. And the few times that I've been to Kentucky, it's beautiful. Angie says she's from Ohio. Wow. We used to go to Ohio before COVID kind of hit. We would do vendor shows up there because we sell outdoor poly furniture. And so we would always go up there to the people that make it and go to the shows. But of course, since COVID hit, they don't have any. They hadn't had any shows, and they don't have much. Y'all gotta make sure I'm doing this right. They don't have much furniture either because that poly furniture is made with resin, has a lot of resin, and the supply chain is really messed up as far as resin. It might be other things too, but that's what I deal with. So, been to Ohio several times. It's beautiful country too. Yeah, fine with the hubs. You know, and I'm very blessed because like if I wanted, like that ribbon organizer, I kind of gave him an idea, you know, and he's like, yeah, I think we can do that. And he just walks into Home Depot and goes to the little place, the lumber place. And then I was like, well, how do you know what to get? He's like, well, we need some 2x2s to nail to the wall. That's going to be what you nail in your, what do you call those? These little, I don't know, kind of hook and eye things. And then we'll use the little, I think they're just probably 1/4-inch dowel rods. Because if it's a ribbon organizer, it's not very heavy. And so it took him, maybe when we got home, maybe it took him, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. And I was like, score! I got unsweet tea twice for breakfast. My ribbon organizer is working about better. I cleaned my room. He fixed the paint organizer over here for me. I was like, life is good, y'all. Life is good. All right, so I painted just in the little time I've been jibber jawing. And I would let this dry, and then I would paint on top of that white. I would paint it yellow. Newfoundland, Canada. Wow, Dawn, that's amazing. I have been to Canada once, but it was beautiful. And it was a long time ago. We only got to spend like 2 days there, but it was so pretty. It was over there, I guess, kind of by Vancouver is where I was at. Okay, so this is dry. So remember, I started with red, and then I put white, and then yellow, and then of course I did my green. So I've got it to the point now where I'm totally base coated. So I'm ready now to start my shading. So what I'm gonna do, put a lid on this. And because this piece is so small, there's really not gonna be a lot to it. I'm going to go with a number 10 brush. Y'all can see this. It's pretty small, okay? Because if I go with anything bigger, I'm gonna have a hard time. So I'm going to just do a little bit of shading around that green. I'm not trying to do a whole lot because it is such a small area. So just a little bit of shading. And so you might be getting old, y'all, if you think a good time is when you get everything organized and clean. And but that's okay. That's okay, y'all. So I'm gonna do something like that. I'm just using a little bit. Let me turn this down. So you're north of Maine. Okay. Wow, that's amazing. Hi, Amy and Debbie and Gail. I'm so glad y'all are here. I'm showing everybody how to paint a, this is probably about a 12 by 10 inch poinsettia. And we sell a lot of them every year. And I cleaned out my art room today and I actually found this. I was supposed to do a live on it back in July, but you know how that goes. Stuff happens, y'all. So one of the things about cleaning is you find all, or I don't know if y'all do, but I find all kind of stuff when I start cleaning. You never know what I'm gonna find. I was like, oh, so this is where this has been this whole time. Who knew? But y'all, when I clean, I don't know, if you get in the mood to clean, I don't know. When I really am in the mood, I just throw everything out and outside the room. And I clean the room top to bottom, and then I go get everything, and I'm like, okay, should I put this back in here? Is this where this really goes? I don't know. Do y'all clean like that? That's how I clean. Sometimes you just have to do that. And we have a central vacuum system in our house, and what that means is it's like instead of just a regular vacuum cleaner, it's got a canister, and all the piping is run through the walls, and so you just hook the hose up, and you know, it sucks all the junk on the floor through the hose through the walls. So we use that a lot, and we've had that ever since we've been in this house, because y'all know we use a lot of glitter. We do a lot of glittering. So we got that really to kind of help us with managing glitter, and I use the heck out of it. Ever so often, maybe about every 10 years, they got to come replace the motor on it. But I don't give them grief, y'all, because I use that thing so much. I mean, I use it all the time. Okay, so I'm ready to do, I did my green, right? Now I'm ready to do my red. The red's a little bit easier, honestly, y'all, because it's a little bit bigger space. So I'm just gonna kind of come in here and do like that. And I start just doing the perimeter of that red flower petal part. And then I would probably just come down the middle a little bit and just kind of very faintly, let me put a little bit more paint on here. Yeah. Kind of give it some kind of the vein, if you will. And turn it. So something like this. I painted a lot too. So I cleaned this art room, and every time I started cleaning, I found something else that I needed to paint. So I got a lot of painting done, and that was really good, because sometimes, y'all, it sounds so strange to say that you paint for a living, but you have a hard time getting time to paint. I know that doesn't make any sense, but it seems like if, on the days that I think I'm gonna really get some painting done, you know, everything else in the whole world happens. Hey, Kitty, how are you? I hope you're doing that nativity set, Kitty. I know you ordered, I think you were the one that ordered all of the templates. And today, Kitty, since you're on here, I'm gonna show y'all something. Hold on. So the other day we had a failure in communication, and I told my son to cut me out a nutcracker. And he cut out a nutcracker, y'all, with no etching. Why? Who knows? Anyway. And I'm not going to throw the nutcracker away because that's too much money. So I went out to my trusty printer. I've never done this on a printer before. We have a big roll printer. out the back. And I printed out a big paper pattern. And so that really kind of got me to thinking, because I've had y'all ask me before, do we sell paper patterns? Now, I can't sell this pattern because this isn't my template, but you get the idea. So I'm wondering if some of you who I know do quite a bit of yard art, if y'all would want paper patterns instead of trying to download them and do it through something like Block Poster. So you did 3 sets? That's awesome. That is good. Because I saw that, Kitty, that you ordered a lot of that. And hey, Cindy and Sam, I'm glad y'all are here. I saw that you ordered those, and so I thought, I'm hoping that she's going to be doing lots of nativities. That's awesome. Are you happy, Kitty, with how they've turned out? Hopefully you are. But yeah, we're looking at maybe doing some paper patterns. It would be a situation where we wouldn't carry them in stock, but if you ordered them, we would print one for you. Because some people really don't want to have to deal with Block Poster. Now, some people are really good at that, and they don't have a problem with it. And so they wouldn't need a paper pattern. So you love, Nancy, you love paper patterns. Kitty, yeah, okay, so you're happy with how they turned out. We're gonna look at doing paper patterns. I do think that there's a market there for it, but honestly, it has taken me this long to get my act together and get our patterns in an organized fashion. They're all digitized now, so that's good. So now, what I could do, since they're digitized in a formula kind of way, if you will, they're actually organized and stuff. If we decide to do paper patterns, I could go in and just print the DX out. You like the templates? Okay, so Ava said she likes the templates. Some people want templates and some people want paper patterns. It just kind of depends on, you know, what your setup is and what you're used to doing. If you're used to or you know, working with templates and Block Poster, then there's no need for you to have a paper pattern. I'm sorry. It really just kind of depends. Now, y'all, of course, I'm showing my age. I started doing this long before there's a Block Poster, I guess, and so I was really accustomed to paper patterns. That's what I worked with for, I don't know, many years, up until 2013, I think, y'all. All right, I'm almost done. One more red flower petal. And then I'm gonna do some, hold on a minute, y'all. Gonna do a little bit of outlining. Now I tend to have what I would consider like a heavy hand. And so I have to be careful when I'm doing smaller things because, thank you, Sam, I appreciate that. What kind of paint and wood do you use? So we use exterior latex house paint, just like the paint that's on at your house that you might buy from Home Depot or Lowe's. We buy it by the gallon. And then we use MDO, medium density overlay, but I tell people it's a signboard material. If you can't find that, the next best thing might be like a Baltic birch. But if you do something like that, you want to make sure that you seal those edges with something like this 3M. You can get this on Amazon, like an edge sealer. Because really, your traditional plywoods are meant for indoors, okay? And yes, this is shading red. So I'm going to outline this thing. But let me show you what I mean by a heavy hand. So I did this the other day, yesterday, or whenever it was. And you can tell by, of course, this is bigger than the poinsettia, obviously. But you can tell by my lines, my hand gets really heavy. I just kind of always have made a lot of big yard art, and so my hand is always heavy. So I've got these big brush strokes here, but that's not gonna work here. You start doing that, then, you know, this whole thing's just gonna have nothing but a whole bunch of black on it. So one thing I gotta do is I have to find a brush. Lord, sometimes trying to find the right brush around here. I gotta find a brush that's not worn out. All right, so I got this. This is a newer brush, it's a number 4, and I've got some black paint here. Now, for me, the challenge is when I'm doing this of course, I'm gonna dip my paint in here, and I'm gonna kind of get it back off, is to come in here and do this with a light hand. I've got to do it with a light hand because I tend to, now if you have a light hand anyway, then that's not your worry. You're going to be cool either way. I mean, you're going to be good. Me, I've done a lot of big yard art over the years, and so I've always had that heavy hand. So I've got to kind of back that up a little bit and go with a lighter stroke. So there's what I'm calling, for me, this would be a light stroke, that black you see, right? Because if I really bear down on this and give it a lot of pressure, you're gonna have a big old wide stroke on a small piece, and you don't want that. You just want something to kind of give it a little bit of boundary here. And that's what I'm trying to do as far as this black outline. And all I'm doing is just kind of coming here, and I'm very, very lightly touching the board with this brush. In fact, I'm almost trying to touch the board without putting any pressure on this brush. Very, very light. There was a girl that used to paint out there where I'm at. The business that we own, before we bought that business, I was one of the vendors there. I bought the business, the property and everything in 2012, I guess it was. Anyway, before that, it was run by the previous owners, and they had 9 artists there. So I was one of 9 artists. And it was really cool because everybody had their own way of doing things, you know. So it was nice because I was the youngest one at the time. I could see what the other artists were doing, you know, and really they were very nice, and I got to learn from a lot of them. And a lot of them had a really light hand. And I would show up with these 8-foot Christmas trees and Santa Clauses, and you know, my brush stroking is this thick, you know, and they're like, how do you get your brush strokes so thick? And I'm like, well, I don't know, I'm just painting. It's like, you know, and so doing something like this, it's kind of like, I have to really think about not going so heavy on my touch here. But you can see that, just look, see, some of this has black on it outlined and some of it doesn't yet. But the more I outline, to me, the better it looks. And I'm just kind of going in here on the outside. And then up here where the red and the green meet, I'm just dragging that brush between the red and the green. That's all I'm doing. So because I decided to clean out my art room today, I found this, and that's why we're doing a live tonight. Ashley will be on tomorrow night, y'all, with a sneak peek. She will be doing that. And a sneak peek is just basically your opportunity. She'll be on around 7. And we'll have a painted example of everything that we will have available for the fall. And so the fall would be fall, Thanksgiving, and Halloween. So that's what tomorrow night on this one, on Painters in the Making, Ashley will be here doing a live. And just so y'all know, because this question came up today, if you're thinking about, you know, Christmas blanks or fall blanks or whatever, our plan is we will continue to cut Christmas and fall all the way till probably around 1st of December. So if we're out of something, let us know. We'll go ahead and cut it again. If there's something that you want and we're just out of it. So that is our plan. As long as our supply of MDF holds out, y'all. Because that has really been a challenge, you know, to get materials in. I think anybody manufacturing anything probably feels that pain right now. The supply chain is just not there. It's just not good. And I don't know really when is it going to get any better, and I don't think anybody really knows. So I'm just kind of putting a little bit of black in here on those petals of the leaves and the flowers. And then I'm going to show you, I'm going to do a little bit of yellow in the middle and then just some white on everything. Okay, so let me rinse out that brush. That's black. And here's where I'm at so far, y'all. That's what I've got so far. Now, when you look at this, to me, it doesn't look bad. It looks okay, but I really don't care for it until I get some white on here. And then you're going to see it turn from something that's kind of pretty to something that's really pretty, I think. Okay, so, but before I do the white, I'm gonna have to do that yellow. And because normally this wouldn't be wet, but since it is wet, I'm gonna have to hold my hand up a little bit more than normally I would sit here and kind of do this. I'm gonna have to kind of do this. Do you put the black line right on top of the shading line? Yes and no. So Ava, whenever you are, I put the black line, when I'm in between the green and the red, I put it right in the middle between the green and the red. Now, when I'm putting the black line out here, like say on this shading green for like the vein of the leaf, I do put it a little bit on top of that shading. Of course, I don't want to cover up the shading. So let me kind of get you an idea. See? So if it's between the green and the red, it goes right between those two colors. But if it's the shading, say in the green petal, I just cover a little bit of black on top of that green shading. You don't want to cover up the whole green shading. You don't want to cover up the whole thing, just some of it. Okay, so I've got my shading yellow. Let me get my new brush over here that's not worn out. Y'all, because a worn out brush, man, the bristles will fan out a lot. And this is not a worn out brush, so it's gonna be easier for me to make a light, thin stroke. If you have a really worn out brush like this one's pretty worn out. I'm not gonna get a thin stroke out of that. But I keep it because I do a lot of stuff that I need wide strokes. So this I'm gonna get a thin stroke out of. So, hey Donna and Cheryl. I hope you guys are having a good evening. Excuse me. I'm having a good day because I got my art room cleaned and I got some stuff organized. Oh y'all, and I actually took a little bit of a nap too. But other than that, I've been out here in the shop in my little art room most of the day with the radio blaring. You know life is good when you've got the music going. You're cleaning, you're organizing, you're painting, you know. And since it's Sunday, my phone wasn't ringing near as much. Of course, Monday's tomorrow, so it'll start up again tomorrow. The phone ringing, I mean, when everybody goes back to work. And people gotta have, you know, questions about everything in the world. So I enjoyed today though, y'all. I really did. Got some cool stuff done. I decided to work on a lot of projects that have just been halfway done. I don't know if y'all have that, but sometimes you just look up and it's like, okay, this isn't finished and this isn't finished and this isn't finished. So today's the day it is gonna get finished. And that's what I did. I'm just very lightly taking the shading yellow on my brush and just following those CNC lines that are etched in there. That's all I'm doing. Wherever there's a CNC line, I'm putting the shading yellow. That's all I'm doing. Let's see if I can put it down a little bit more. That way you can see it a little bit better, hopefully. And very light touch, dip some paint in there, come back and do it like this. I'm just going in that CNC line. And when I run out of paint, you can see I just come right back in here and I dip it again. And then really all I've got to do is put some white on here and my poinsettia is done. Just some white. That's all I got to do after this yellow, I mean. And it's kind of tedious, so like today I was doing a lot of painting. Girl, I just turn on the radio. It's just Bruce and I here at the house, so you know, it's not like we have kids that live at home anymore. And if the phone's not ringing, Bruce is not one to bother me. He kind of goes and does his own thing. So I was alone with my radio blaring, y'all. Actually, it wasn't a radio, it was an iPod playing my music list, but you know, I'm kind of I probably shouldn't be saying I got an iPod. I don't think anybody has an iPod anymore. I still have 2 iPods.